getting stranded sucks. And when you get stranded out of state, it sucks even more. Or in a different country for that matter. I got stranded in Las Vegas, Nevada. That's different from Las Vegas, New Mexico. Yeah, there's a Las Vegas in New Mexico as well. It probably has nothing to do with the Las Vegas in Nevada, and I'm not really too sure which one came first. But I assume the one in New Mexico probably came first because the Las Vegas in Nevada wasn't founded until 1905. That'd be an interesting thing to look up. Anyway, so let me tell you my story about how I became stranded in Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, it all started originally when I had gone to Anime Vegas. That was an anime convention in Las Vegas where I met some new friends. And a few months later, after the con, I had decided that, hey, you know, I want to go visit my friends in Las Vegas. So me and another friend who lived in the area decided to drive out to Las Vegas just for the heck of it, do a nice road trip together and stuff. And a really strange thing had occurred on the way. When we were in the middle of Utah, there was this minivan that just tore ass past up over the hill, and it was almost gone out of sight. And about a couple hours later, we see the minivan, and it's upside down in the middle of the median in between the two highways. Because when you get into these areas that are in like the rural parts of Utah, the road kind of like arcs around different ways, and there's this big gap, and the minivan was just right there upside down. There was a few cars that had pulled over to one side of the highway, and a few cars had pulled over to the other side of the highway to investigate and make certain that everybody in the minivan was okay. There was a woman who was actually very gradually walking up to the minivan, kind of clasping her hands up close to her mouth, like kind of scared to look into the minivan to see if anyone was hurt. And in this area, you know, my cell phone didn't get any reception at all, so it was pretty much pointless for me and my friend to stop and see if we could assist, especially since there was like enough cars already present on the scene, and also with my phone not being able to work, there would have been a reason to have stopped. So we kind of just slowed down, kind of decided to see if we needed to stop at all, and decided that it wasn't really necessary since there was enough people already on the scene. So anyway, we get into Las Vegas in the afternoon, and I meet up with my friend, and we go to dinner and stuff, and a movie. We went to see Planet 51. So if anyone remembers that movie, it's about a guy who ironically gets stranded on an alien planet, and the alien planet is currently experiencing their version of the 1950s, which is very similar to Earth's 1950s. Really good movie if you haven't seen it. It's really funny too. Anyway, so the next day, I had gotten a sinus infection. So I was confined to my hotel room when my one friend I went to go see had to work, and it really sucked because she had originally had told me that she actually was able to have the time off, but she kind of had to go in to fill in for somebody else. So that was kind of unavoidable. I wasn't feeling well anyway, and then my friend who came with ended up going to see his cousin because his cousin lived in the area. And so they kind of like just all hung out together and stuff like that while I was just sick in my hotel room trying to recover from sinus infection. When it was finally time to leave Las Vegas, we get on the highway, we're heading out, and there's this SUV that is in front of me, and he decides to exit off of the highway, and then suddenly veers across 2 lanes of traffic and then slams on his brakes because traffic was starting to back up from the morning commute in Las Vegas. Yeah, there's actually people who work in the morning. Imagine that. So traffic just stops to almost standstill, and then I tried to avoid hitting the guy in front of me because he had cut in front of me. So I kind of like veered to the right and clipped him on the side, like right on the side of my driver's side fender. But it was still enough impact to cause both the airbags to deploy. We weren't going very fast, probably around like 40 miles an hour, something like that, and it still made the airbags go off in the car. So it totaled my car, had to wait around a while for, you know, people to show up to make certain everyone was okay and stuff. My car had to be towed off the scene. The other guy that I had hit, who had pulled in front of me, he got to go on his merry way. There was almost like no damage to his car at all, except for like a dent in the fender. Remember, I hit an SUV, so those things are pretty tough. I'm driving a 4-door sedan. The really weird thing is that when the moment before I had impacted his car, it was almost like seeing in slow motion when the airbag went off. And first thing I did was I put my arms in front of my face to protect my face from the airbag hitting it, because I had in the back of my mind what these airbags in some of these cars do. I'm driving a Mercury, which is made by Ford, and Ford has some really powerful airbags. There used to be this YouTube channel back in the golden age of YouTube. It was called Dave's Farm, and this guy would put airbags inside of refrigerators and then, like, you know, set them off with a car battery. And he put a Ford airbag in a refrigerator and set it off, and it buckled out the sides of the refrigerator and then blew the door off clear across the guy's yard. So I had that into my mind. So when I put my arms out in front of my face, that was probably why. But I still, with the impact of the airbag, it still clocked me in the face with my own arms because of how I had my arms positioned in front of my face. So that hurt, but at least I didn't have an airbag go off in my face. You know, I had some arms hit my face instead. Yay! Imagine that. Anywho, so we ended up going to the closest casino just to kind of like collect our thoughts and stuff about the situation, about what happened, and like, oh, how long are we going to be stuck in Las Vegas for? Well, apparently not very long, because I was able to secure some last minute one-way flights back to Denver on Southwest Airlines. So, you know, at least there's a very inexpensive airline that people can afford, normal people can afford, so that way we were able to get out of there. So my friend ended up calling up his cousin. His cousin came and got us, took us to the airport, and then while we're waiting for our flight, there's this drunk lady there, and she's drinking a bottle of Patron, and she is just drunk off of her rocker and acting all silly and stuff. She actually had some of the security guards just laughing at her because of how goofy she was acting and stuff, and she was drinking it because she was waiting for her flight, and she had gotten it from someone previously who just gave her the bottle because they couldn't take it with them past the security gate. You know, so she was drinking it, and she's like, okay, well, my flight's coming up, so she offered it to me and my friend immediately accepted the bottle, you know, and then she kind of goes on her merry way, and so we're drinking this bottle of Patron, and then our flight's coming up, so we're deciding, hey, either finish the bottle or just see if we can pass it off to somebody else, and there's this guy, and he's coming up, and he's got his girlfriend with him, or his wife, it could have been his wife, but the guy doesn't look very happy, so my friend's like, hey, you know, we got this bottle of Patron here, and we can't take it past this security gate, and our flight's coming up. So there's a lady who gave it to us, and it was the same situation with her. And then there was a guy who she got it from, which was the same situation with him. So we're wondering, do you want to just take this from us so we can go on our flight? And the guy declined the offer, and then he leaves. And then later, like a few minutes later, he comes back, and my friend's like, hey, are you sure you don't want this bottle of Patron? Because we can't take it with us, you know? And the guy's like, you know, on second thought, I'll just take it from you. So he ended up taking the bottle of Patron so that way he could have it. And we were able to get on our flight and fly back to Colorado. And we got back into Denver pretty safely. Of course, not pretty safely, exactly safely, you know, late in the evening. And my friend's parents had come to pick us up because we didn't even have a car to get back. You know, we didn't want to have to take a public transportation or a taxi or Uber or anything like that. So he just called up his mom. You know, it's like, hey, you know, I mean, like, me and Vi are back in Denver. Can you come pick us up at the airport? So she came and picked us up, brought us back over to his place. You know, so oh man, that was a heck of an ordeal. And when you think back about it, when you're stuck in a situation like that, especially if you don't have a means of arranging a ride or know anyone in the area, it can be extremely stressful. Fortunately, I've never had to like experience anything quite that bad, because whenever I've gone somewhere, I've always gone somewhere where I know at least one person. So I've always had at least like some comfort knowing like, hey, if something happens, at least there is someone in this area who knows me and can help me if I need help. So that's my story. Never ever get in a situation where you're stranded in a different state or another country. If you've ever had something like this happen to you as well, leave a comment down in the comments. Tell me your story. I'd love to hear it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you're not new, leave a like. Even if you are new, go ahead and leave a like as well. And don't forget, more videos are coming out. I'm going to be doing some more animatic type style videos. I have another crazy horror story from when I was a child that happened to me, and it's just a wild story, and I've been waiting to put it out because I want to like add in some animatics to kind of like help tell the story a bit better than me just talking and you watching me draw something. Anyways, so this has been Vi. Have a good one. And remember, stay safe out there, and I'll see you later.